Welcome. How you doing? To the overnight ramblings. This is Seth Melendez. Calling to you on New Year's Day. It's been a quiet New Year's Eve, and just thinking about a bunch of things right now. And just wanted to, part of the year of 2022 and midway, I didn't think I was going to make it through the year with all the issues. And for a while, there was a bunch of mysteries with the sickness that I went through, what ultimately was diagnosed as pericarditis, which is the inflammation of the heart lining. And then there were also a lot of side effects to that. But once it was determined, I did the operation, and I came out of it successful. But there were some dark days there. A lot of dark days, a lot of dark moments in that hospital by myself. And I didn't think I was going to make it, especially, early parts of that. Um, but I did. And just, very thankful right now. Thankful for a lot. Thankful for my wife. Thankful for my family. I'm very spiritual and I believe in God. So I am a Christian. So I do thank God for guiding me through a lot of the things that I've dealt with. And, whatever it is that you believe in and whatever it is, I always try to tell people, to think that a lot of times you come through things, it's not because of you. Might be a lot of factors in there. A lot of people there to help you. A lot of people there. Your spirituality. A lot of reasons you come through. And there's a lot of Sometimes it's not a individual sport that you're dealing with when you're dealing with an issue. It's a team sport, and I think we have to recognize the variables of others. It's very difficult to do a lot of these things by yourself, and I'm a very private person. I don't like sharing things, and when I go through a lot of heartache and problems, I usually become very insular. I crab up and I don't share, and I don't tell people that there's a problem. I was just hearing someone recently. Actually, it was a little skit I saw on one of the TikToks or something like that, where little girl said to her mother, "Why don't you ask for help?" Mother said, "It's I don't usually like to ask people for any help." And then the little girl basically said, "It's not about asking for help. It's using your resources." And that kind of sparked something in me. Sometimes we're not using our resources, leveraging them for the best. Whether it's health, whether it's mental, whatever it is. I think we're not leveraging our resources better. And sometimes it's our pride, sometimes it's embarrassment, sometimes. So, to start off this new year, I just thought, maybe that's something that we should share with others. This ability to make sure people understand that we have to, utilize the resources that we've been blessed with, friends, family, and others to help us through these situations. And I think we can come out better on the other end of it. This year, I vow to, continue to recuperate, get back into my business. I had to, in a sense, close my business down, and don't know if I'm going to open up the same type of business. I was into a lot of, it was an IT consulting, and that maybe do a different type of form of that. But we'll see when I come back and start doing that, or I'd probably start doing some general consulting soon, just to fill the coffers. My wife is taking a lot of burden, and I thank her for all that. And we've been blessed to come through this while I've been sick and dealing with these issues. So it's just one of those things where, this year that, I'm about to get back into the game, get back up to the plate, do my thing. And, but the biggest thing is, turn 52 this year, and, all of a sudden things come crashing around you when it comes to health-wise. And without your health and without, being able to be mobile, it can be scary, A lot of people out there, they say, we waste, youth on the young. because when you're in your 20s, you don't think of these things. You run around, you do things. I used to be able to walk miles, and stuff like that. Now it's like sometimes you can't even walk, 20 feet. But I still feel like I'm blessed right now. I'll recuperate and come back from all this because I understand, uh, you know, when you appreciate the love and the people around you. I think, got great sisters and mother and my wife, friends. Sometimes you take it for granted. And this year I just don't want to take and just take people for granted. And sometimes we take them for granted just by not saying hi. And how are you doing? How you've been? How's it going on with you? We just go on with our lives and we don't make contact. We don't reach out to each other. And I think, it's one of the biggest things that this year is going to be a little different for me. So it's not, where everybody starts doing their New Year's planning and stuff like that. I just think it's subtle changes that we have to make in ourselves to appreciate the ones we have around us, to utilize the resources that we've been given, and to sometimes stop and smell the roses, enjoy it. Sitting here, we got the dog. I was laying here, my dog. New Year's came around, me and my wife were sitting next. She's on the couch right next to me, and the dog was laying in my lap. New Year's came around, and we were just sitting here laughing. Happy New Year's, and kind of, dog was just trying to sleep. He just got annoyed and walked away, went in the corner, fell asleep. But it was just funny. So I cherished the moments. We were joking. Yeah, we're gonna go partying. It's not my life. This is just not who we are. This is me and my wife. We're just sitting here, just relaxing, just chilling. So it's a new year for everyone. Whoever makes their resolutions this year, make them reasonable. Make them challenging, but not out of reach. Because I think sometimes, people make their resolutions out of reach, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. So I think sometimes, we look at the journey instead of the steps in front of you. Take the steps. I remember hearing a Navy SEAL talk about how he made it through SEAL training and his BUDS class, and he said he didn't think about the next evolution. He didn't think about the next. He always thought about the next few steps. That rock, get to that rock over there 30 feet, get to that bush, get to that little hole over there. And he just kept doing that. And then his thing was, okay, if I can get to the next meal, I know they have to service meals, breakfast and lunch. So if I can just slowly, incrementally keep going, these little things, I can get to the next meal. And then and that will give me a respite for a moment. And sometimes I think we need to do that, just slow it down, and just incrementally do these things and move forward. But keep it realistic. Sometimes I think we have unrealistic goals, and then we give up too easily when we don't move forward. I know this year taught me a lot about being a realist, being realistic, and being true to yourself and honest. Sometimes we're not even honest with ourselves. We have to be honest with ourselves and outcomes and situations. You're in a bad situation, stop digging. You're in a bad situation, health-wise, start listening to people that may help you. Find the people that can help you. And one of the best things I could say out of a lot of this is I found, one of the best heart surgeons in Jersey, the best heart failure doctor, and the best cardiologist, It was one of those things where if I didn't have one of them, I wouldn't have had all of them. One led to the other, and I wound up being successful with this whole situation. And they were the best people for the job to figure things out and to get me back to health. The recovery has been a struggle here and there, but the the future looks great, and I just want people to understand that in those circumstances, similar to that, I think people go through struggles through work, they go through struggle through, whether it's kids, whatever it is. I just think in those circumstances, we have to see that there's sometimes, a bigger picture. You have to reach those goals and get out of this little rut that we're doing, or the things that we're doing. Change things up a little, change up your routes. See something different. If you're having issues, with your husband, wife, or whatever it is, sometimes, perfect long time ago, I had an issue with a boss. We weren't seeing eye to eye, and somebody just said, Seth, stop, getting him to recognize you, and just call him and say, what do you need from me? And I took that advice, and it changed the dynamic of how that boss saw me, because I wasn't one of the thousands of people coming to him every day being annoying, like, oh, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, or you didn't check this, and you didn't, I didn't get the recognition I felt I deserved. But the thing is there's a bunch of people looking for recognition, and he's not watching anyone. So how can he recognize something that he is not sitting there watching? He's only getting reports from an email. You're sending him stuff from email, so it's pretty benign in a sense. The task that you're doing. It's not there's no context there. And I think once I became someone that he can rely on, it changed the dynamic. Then he could recognize my value to him, and our relationship became really good after that. And so once it became that point where it was like, hey, what do you need from me? What can I do? What can I take off your plate? Okay, if I take that off your plate, then I need these things taken care of or delayed, or and we'd work together. And he'd be like, okay, give me this, and this, and I'll get somebody else to do it. Just show them what needs to get done, and then take this off my plate, because that's more important. And I would ask him those things. You just gave me this. I'm working on this. Do you want me to do your stuff first, or this other thing I was working on? What's the priority? I started taking the ego out of it, and that taught me a lesson. Because sometimes we don't realize how egos get in the way. And I think through this challenging moment, this 2022, there was a lot of ego still in the way. And while I successfully came out the other end, there's a lot of humility I had to develop. And, I thank God for that, just so I could come out of that a lot better mentally. Physically, it was a challenge. But it's slowly but surely, things are getting better with that. It's just, going forward this year, I think there's going to be a lot of, a different perspective change. I think we need to change the context, perspective. If things aren't going one way, there's a problem. You want to blame the other person, blame the wife, blame the husband, blame the kids, blame the job. I think sometimes we need to stop and blame ourselves. What blame do I have? What's my ownership in this? It's one of those things where I think this year is going to be a little different for me, and that's what I wanted to share. Just the difference for this year than it was last year. I'm very grateful for a lot of things, and I hope that gratefulness, that feeling, continues with me, because I think we lose those things as we go through life, and in different turmoils we become self-reflecting. You can be there's a lot of humility. You become grateful. And then after a while you kind of forget those lessons and those feelings, and then we go back to certain routines that we were doing before, sometimes very destructive or very negative routines, and we need to break that cycle. And I hope for the new year that a lot of people would, start thinking of those things, how to change perspective, how to change, using my boss as an example, anything we were sending him, people were sending him updates and the stat updates on things that he's just reading it, unless you talk to him, and if you did, it was a quick synopsis. So how could he know, the things that you did, the hours that you put in? A lot of times they're not even really reading how many hours you put in, and it's not correlated. You're talking about, oh yeah, the other day I did some work, blah 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 blah, and 2 days later he may be looking at hours and saw that you did, an extra, 5 hours that week or 10 hours that week, and he signed off on it because he generally knew that you were going to be working late, but it's not correlated. The work hours is not correlated to the things that you were doing specifically, and he's not putting the two together because he doesn't have the whole context of it. So I think that's one of the biggest things that, we have to look at from their perspective and see, and being able to, come to him and say, hey, what do you need? What can I do for you? What is it that I can make, do for you to make your job a little easier? And I literally would say that. What do you need? What do you need from me today? And he sometimes, no, I don't need anything. I don't need anything. Then he'd come back to me and say, thanks, man. I really needed somebody to step up for me. I'm like, you don't need anything? No. I just really needed somebody to say it, and like I said, it was a great dynamic change. We became very friendly because anytime he needed something, I'd say, yeah. And the funny thing is, a lot of times he'd be like, yeah, I need you to do this thing. It's important. I need you to, and it would fall through. But I'd be like, sure, whatever. Just, we need to rearrange my schedule to deal with this priority. And then it would fall through. And he'd be like, you know what? It's not going to happen. So thanks. But the fact that I was willing to work with him stuck in his mind. And I think, there are times, if you, move that over to relationships, there are times that, you're talking at each other. You're saying things to you and to your partner. And you're not really listening. Sometimes, Judge Judy says you have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. We're not listening. We're just speaking. And we're not hearing the other person. Or as they say, you hear but don't listen. They're talking, but you're not really listening to what they're saying. And I just want people to understand that is something that we need to think about, with these relationships and going forward, the things that we need to change, the humility we need to have. The context we need to look at and the perspective we need to change. To all those things are the things that I think this year is going to be a great year for me, because those are the things I wish to implement in my life. And like I said, anyone who's doing a New Year's resolution, whatever plan you have, make sure it's something that's doable, maybe challenging to get there. Great. Challenging is great. But it's doable, something doable. And if you're getting real close to doing it, there's nothing wrong with extending it out or adding more challenges to it. I think, sometimes we just need that simple win. I was just working on a project, and one of them was kicking my ass and working on some computer stuff. And, and I stopped dealing with it, and I just went and started doing a bunch of things that I knew would be simple wins, things that would work quickly. And just to get your mindset in that, okay, you get that quick, blast of epinephrine or whatever they call it in the brain, the chemicals that create happiness. You get that quick hit. You just want to get those wins in. Okay, great. I got these things out of the way. And then you can go back to tackling the other problem. And the funny thing is the time away gave me something to think about, and somehow subconsciously I was able to come up with another solution or another possible path, which actually worked. Which helped me deal with the bigger problem. So I just put that out there, just so, these are different things that are going on that can help you. Sometimes when the big things are bothering you, just take a deep breath. Back away for a second. If it's something going on at work, head to the bathroom, or hey, I gotta get out of here. Just not feeling well. Just take a moment to yourself. Any boss worth their salt, if they're a good boss, will understand. Just say, look, I need to clear my head. There's a lot of things going on. And bounce out. Get out of there. If the heat's getting crazy, obviously you don't want to do that all the time. But, or if there's something going on, just walk away for a second and then come back and deal with the situation. I think we need to, like I said, humility. We need to see the context of things, the true context of things. We have to be honest with ourselves, and then we also have to look at the perspective. And maybe sometimes we need a perspective change. So I think going forward this year will be a good thing to deal with, and those are the great ideals and things that I'll be working on this year to better my health, get back into the game, fill the coffers, do the things that we need to do to make sure that you feel like your family's taken care of, and that gives time. One thing last year and years before, even prior to all this, I wasn't going to see a lot of family prior to all the COVID stuff and all that stuff, because COVID just came on us, and I think everybody was surprised. But I also recognized that I wasn't really pushing and seeing family often and talking to people and reaching out, and we weren't doing a lot of that. And I think I recognized that I wasn't being a good brother, a good husband, good son, a good friend, those things that I wasn't doing my job. I was failing at those things, and I recognized a lot of those things. And hopefully, through this year, throughout this past year, slowly things started to change, and going forward, I hope to make a bigger impact going forward with the those issues. So that's the things that I wanted to mention for the new year, and I hope everybody has a great, happy, healthy new year. Set those resolutions and start hitting them, and God bless and one love, and hopefully be a great year. So thank you. Have a nice night. God bless.